Okay, this is part two of before World War II and American, like our foreign policy. So, 1940, as I said, our relations with Japan were day to day. We passed July 2nd, 1940, we passed the Export Control Act, which cut off aircraft parts, chemicals to Japan. Japanese, and they were invading what is today like Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, the French colonies, and they wanted these territories, and this would be in direct conflict with our open door policy and our foreign policy with France. So, also in 1940, Japan will join Germany and Italy to form the Axis powers. So, you're going to see the formation of these sides created that are going to fight in World War II for the most part. Of course, Italy, just like in World War I, they're going to flip sides at the end of the war. So, America and Japan. July 18th, 1941, another Export Control Act is passed, and this will cut off our oil export to Japan. In reaction to Japan's aggression in Burma, Hong Kong, and Malaysia, that's why we passed this act. In 1940 September, the Tripartite Pact was signed with Germany, Japan, and Italy formally, and the Soviet Union as of right now. In 1941, in November 29th, to be exact, talks break down with Japanese diplomats, and on December 6th, it looks like we may be able to talk with them again, but they leave. I believe they pulled their diplomats from DC around this time. 1941, Sunday, December 7th, at around 9 o'clock in the morning, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. It's the day that will live in infamy. Now, understand, it takes Japan 18 months to plan this, and they were ready by late November. So if you do the timeline backwards, you'll see it would be like May to June of 1940, they start planning this attack. And the guy who plans it, Admiral Yamamoto, he was actually educated in the U.S. at the University of Southern California with his, I believe it was his master's degree. The dead, 2,400 people die. This is the worst disaster in U.S. history until 9/11. And remember, this is on U.S. soil. Hawaii is not a state, it's a territory. Hawaii is not a state. Yeah, it's a territory. This attack wounded 1,700. The ships were sunk or damaged, included 18 ships, including the flagship, the USS Pennsylvania. Only 4 ships were totally beyond repair. So out of the 18 ships that were torpedoed and sank, 14 of them were floated, repaired, and served in World War II. The planes that were lost, 350. Ships to survive, 4 aircraft carriers that were out of the port at this time. A few battleships and subs remained. So why would Japan do this? We were the police force of the Pacific. Japan knew we were not allowed. We would not allow them to take these lands they wanted or needed, and in the South Pacific, which would be the Philippines, Indonesia, etc. So they wanted to eliminate our forces so they could build their empire. They didn't think we'd fight back if we were utterly destroyed. They thought if they sank all of our ships and this attack went off perfect, that we would not fight back. Now, the guy designing the plan, Admiral Yamamoto, he told them and petitioned. He said, all you're going to do is awaken a sleeping giant, and that we would fight back. But they didn't listen to him. And he knew us as a people because he was educated over here. And he knew what our production capability was. And he said that if we did join the war, it'd just be a slow defeat for them, and that comes to pass. So, did Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor go off exactly like they planned? No, it did not. They did not sink all of our ships. They did not get the third phase of their invasion or their attack off, and because we got enough planes in the air. So strategically or tactically it was a success. Strategically it was not, because it did not knock us out of the war, and it did awaken us, and it awakened a sleeping giant. So anyway, that kind of sets us up for World War II and our involvement in it, and we will talk quickly about the rest of this